In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 college basketball games happening on March 19, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Mount St. Mary's versus American. The NCAA tournament continues with the first 4 matchup featuring the Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers and the American Eagles, set for Wednesday evening in Dayton. This game holds high stakes as the winner will move on to face top-seeded Duke in the East region on Friday, while the loser's tournament run will come to an end. Mount St. Mary's earned their spot in March Madness by securing a 63-49 victory over Iona in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Tournament Championship this past Saturday. They defied expectations, winning outright as 4.5-point underdogs. On the other hand, American claimed their place by dominating Navy in the Patriot League tournament final, winning 74-52 and covering the spread as a 4-point favorite on March 12th. In the head-to-head history between these two teams, American holds a slight 9-7 advantage and has won the last 4 matchups. Their most recent victory came on November 22, 2023, when they triumphed 68-65 at home. American appears to be the more seasoned team overall, and it could be argued that the Patriot League is stronger than the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Because of this, American would typically be favored in this contest. However, despite their overall strength, American doesn't do anything exceptionally well that would truly intimidate their opponents. On the other hand, Mount St. Mary's brings an above-average defense to the table, ranking in the top 40 in defensive field goal percentage and top 50 in defensive three-point percentage. This defensive prowess, along with their recent momentum, makes them a tough team to overlook. Mount St. Mary's has covered the spread in 6 consecutive games, including impressive upsets over Iona, Merrimack, and Marist. With a season-long record of 21-11-1 against the spread, the Mountaineers are not only a surprise to be here but are also a team carrying strong momentum. They're playing with confidence and free from pressure, which makes them a dangerous underdog. As our first pick for this matchup, the Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both teams struggle offensively, but excel defensively. The Mountaineers have kept the total under in 8 of their last 10 games, while the Eagles have stayed under the total in 7 of their last 10 contests. Mount St. Mary's ranks 292nd in offensive efficiency, which is troubling considering they are 163rd in effective field goal percentage. Their offensive struggles are largely due to turnovers. The Mountaineers also rank 170th in tempo, averaging 67.4 possessions per game. American, while slightly better, still ranks poorly in offensive efficiency, sitting at 252nd overall. Their effective field goal percentage is 120th at 51.8%, and they are 349th in adjusted tempo with only 63.5 possessions per game. Both teams rank near the bottom of the college basketball world in terms of offensive output. American stands at 252nd in adjusted offensive efficiency, while Mount St. Mary's is further behind at 292nd. In terms of raw points per game, neither team manages to score more than 70 points regularly. Additionally, it's important to highlight that American plays at the slowest pace of any team in the nation, ranking 349th in adjusted tempo with just 63.5 possessions per 40 minutes. Mount St. Mary's is slightly faster, ranking 170th with 67.4 possessions per game. Even though the Mountaineers have shown some offensive improvement during their 4-game winning streak, averaging 114.5 combined points per game, they come from a league that generally favors lower scoring, defensive-minded games. This trend will likely continue in this matchup, especially considering both teams' lackluster offensive performances and strong defensive showings. Given the emphasis on defense and the offensive struggles on both sides, this game is expected to fall short of the total. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Xavier versus Texas. The Xavier Musketeers will face off against the Texas Longhorns in a first four matchup in the Midwest region, set to take place at UD Arena in Dayton, Ohio. The stakes are high in this game, as the winner will secure the 11th seed and move on to play Illinois on Friday. The final game of the first four, which takes place Wednesday night, pits the Xavier Musketeers against the Texas Longhorns in a highly anticipated rematch from the 2023 Sweet 16. The winner of this game will advance to the field of 64, where they'll head to Milwaukee as the 11th seed and go up against 6th seed Illinois on Friday night. Xavier's performance in the Big East tournament didn't yield any wins, as they lost a heartbreaker to Marquette 89-87. However, they ended the regular season on a strong note, winning 7 consecutive games to finish with a solid 13-7 record in conference play. On the other hand, Texas had a rough time in the Southeastern Conference, finishing just 6-12. That said, the Southeastern Conference was a tough conference this season, with 14 teams earning spots in the tournament. The Longhorns were on the bubble heading into the Southeastern Conference tournament, but secured their place with wins over Vanderbilt and Texas Agricultural and Mechanical before falling to Tennessee in the quarterfinals. This matchup is shaping up to be an exciting one, and both teams bring plenty of star power to the court. While Texas might be considered the underdog, they have one of the top guards in the country in Tree Johnson, who led the Southeastern Conference with 20 points per game. Johnson is capable of carrying his team to 1 or 2 wins in this tournament, but I believe Xavier will come out on top. The Musketeers will lean on Zach Fremantle, who averaged 17 points per game and was notably missing in mid-December when Xavier lost to Connecticut in overtime on the road and fell to Marquette by just 2 points. Xavier showed resilience without their best player in those games, but with Fremantle back and healthy, the Musketeers have the advantage over Texas. According to Bart Torvik, Xavier has been more efficient both offensively and defensively over their last 10 games compared to their season averages, while Texas has seen a regression. Most notably, Texas defensive numbers have taken a hit, as they rank 69th in defensive efficiency for the season, but dropped to 129th over their last 10 games. While Texas proved they can win when their backs were against the wall in the Southeastern Conference tournament, these two teams are trending in opposite directions as we head into March Madness. As our first pick for this matchup, the Xavier Musketeers money line is our full game side pick. When these teams last met in the tournament 2 seasons ago, they combined for 154 points, easily hitting the over on a 148-point total. While Texas may not play at a fast pace, ranking 172nd in Ken Palm's tempo rankings, they are athletic enough to keep up with Xavier. The Musketeers will likely challenge them, as they rank 74th overall in tempo. Both teams are high-scoring, averaging over 78 points per game, and both have been hitting over 36% of their three-point attempts. In fact, Texas scored 79 points or more in 4 of their last 6 games. The Musketeers have also been putting up impressive numbers, scoring 83 points or more in 3 of their last 4 games and 5 of their last 8. Between the two teams, 36 of their combined games this season have gone over the total. This game is likely to have a fast pace. Texas ranks 143rd in the nation in pace of play, while Xavier comes in at 113th. Recent trends also point toward a high-scoring affair on Wednesday night. The Longhorns are 9-1 to the over in their last 10 games, while the Musketeers aren't far behind at 7-3 to the over in their last 10. Given the trends and the expected pace of play, it's a safe bet that we'll see a high-scoring game. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Florida Atlantic versus Dayton. On Wednesday, the Dayton Flyers will face off against the Florida Atlantic Owls in the National Invitational Tournament. This marks the first time these two teams have met since 2012, creating an intriguing matchup between two very different teams. The only previous meeting between these two teams happened way back in 2012, a game Dayton won by a commanding 25-point margin. But a lot has changed in the 12 years since then. Florida Atlantic has evolved into a well-rounded team, with not only strong scorers, but also exceptional shooters. 3 of their top 4 double-digit scorers are hitting at least 51% of their shots, showing their efficiency and depth on offense. On the other hand, Dayton has struggled with defense and shooting consistency. 3 of their 4 double-digit scorers are shooting below 45% from the field, which will likely be a problem against a team like Florida Atlantic. Additionally, the Flyers' lack of a strong rebounding presence will be an issue. The Owls should be able to dominate the boards, and if their defense can put extra pressure on Dayton's shooting, shooters, it's likely going to be a tough night for the Flyers. Florida Atlantic has gone 5-2 straight up in their last 7 games, and they've been playing solid basketball lately. As for Dayton, I'm losing patience with them. They've consistently been the team I expect more from, but they often disappoint. Florida Atlantic has been especially strong at home this season, and I trust their offense at home more than I trust Dayton in general. As our first pick for this matchup, the Florida Atlantic Owls money line is our full game side pick. When it comes to the over-under, the over hit in 20 of Dayton's games this season, including 7-2 in road games and 8-4 in non-conference matchups. However, Florida Atlantic's defense leaves a lot to be desired. The Owls tend to give up a lot of attempts at the rim and are ranked 343rd in quick points allowed off offensive rebounds. On top of that, Florida Atlantic's opponents are shooting 36.7% from three-point range, which is also near the bottom of the rankings. Dayton, however, often finds itself getting to the free throw line, which boosts their scoring potential and could keep the game closer than some might expect. But Dayton also struggles defensively against the three-point shot, and Florida Atlantic shoots 35% from deep, so the Owls should be able to capitalize on that at home. Additionally, Florida Atlantic has a high attempt rate at the rim, which will test Dayton's defense, especially since the Flyers are weak in that area. Both teams average over 75 points per game, and Florida Atlantic plays at a fast tempo, ranking 93rd nationally in pace. While neither team has an offense that's particularly explosive, both are solid offensively with deep rotations full of reliable scorers. Both teams also tend to give up points, so it's unlikely that either defense will dig in too much. Florida Atlantic's pace and scoring ability at home should continue to put up strong numbers, while Dayton will need to rely on their offense to keep pace. The Flyers are averaging a bit more on the road this season than at home, and they've scored at least 75 points in 5 of their last 8 games. Florida Atlantic has also scored over 76 points in 3 of their last 4 games. With both teams having hit the over in 36 games this season, it's clear that high-scoring games have been the trend for both. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Northern Iowa versus SMU. The Panthers are headed to Texas to take on the Mustangs in the first round of the National Invitation Tournament. With a record of 20-12, the Panthers come into this game after a solid season in the Missouri Valley Conference. The Mustangs, fresh off their first successful season in the Atlantic Coast Conference, hosted a strong 23-10 record to secure their spot in the National Invitation Tournament. Both teams have earned their place, but the competition is about to get tougher. The Mustangs could be considered a bit of a surprise contender, pun intended, to win the National Invitation Tournament. They're thrilled to be part of this postseason tournament, especially after a breakthrough season that has them rising in the ranks of college basketball. Their ability to shoot from the perimeter and control the boards makes them a dangerous team. While their defense on the perimeter is a bit weak, that may not be as much of a concern against Northern Iowa, as their offense doesn't rely heavily on long-range shooting. Despite their ability to hit threes at a high clip, the Panthers will have a tough time slowing the game down, especially given their disadvantage on the glass. This will likely result in easy baskets for the Mustangs. SMU nearly pulled off an upset against Clemson, and the Panthers are not quite on that level. The Mustangs did drop a few games toward the end of their regular season that they were expected to win, but they managed to cover the spread in both of their games in the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. Now entering the National Invitation Tournament as the top-seeded team in their quadrant, it's no surprise that they're heavily favored against the Panthers. On both offense and defense, the Mustangs have been impressively efficient, especially considering the higher level of competition they faced in the Atlantic Coast Conference. One of the most noticeable differences between the two teams is SMU's success in securing offensive rebounds compared to Northern Iowa's struggles in that area. As our first pick for this matchup, the SMU Mustangs to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. The under has been a strong trend in both teams' games lately, hitting in each of the Mustangs' last 5 games and in the Panthers' last 4. Northern Iowa is among the slower teams in the nation in terms of possessions per game, likely due to their struggles in securing defensive rebounds and finishing defensive possessions. This is a vulnerability that SMU can easily exploit. The end result could be a game where the Mustangs get more opportunities to score while the clock runs down quicker than the scoreboard moves up. Even though Northern Iowa is known for their sharp shooting and SMU boasts a 31st ranked scoring offense, both teams are entering this game with a dip in their offensive production. The Mustangs fell well short of the total in their close loss to Clemson, and they've gone under the total in 7 of their last 10 games. The Panthers will do everything they can to keep this game under the projected total, as they have gone 4-6 on the over in their last 10. It's not out of the question for both teams to score 70 points and still not hit the over. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me at all if both teams ended up staying under that mark and the total was never really in question. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.